Hi everyone, Tasha here for Paper Sweeties, and today we're going to create a little tropical scene using items from the Paper Sweeties August release. The supplies we'll be using in today's project include the Vacation stamp set, Another Day in Paradise stamp set, and the coordinating dies. And I just love this little palm tree, flamingo, and a little sandy hill. And these dies will cut out everything perfectly. I'll also be masking off some items using some post-it full adhesive squares. And then the paper for today's project is going to be orange cardstock, white cardstock, and a pattern paper. We're going to start by doing some ink blending in the background. I'm going to use those post-it squares and cut out several clouds using the Paper Sweeties Sweet Cuts. And I'm going to just attach the clouds randomly around the sky area. I want to have an ink blended sky background, but I like this cloud design. You can also cut out white cardstock to make puffy clouds, but I thought it would be nice just to have it kind of show through the pretty blue sky color. I'm using a light shade of blue Distress Oxide ink in tumbled glass, and I'm going over those cutout cloud image areas just to make sure there's enough blue around it so you have that cloud shape. And then I'm just kind of lightly blending all over the sky. When I was done, I peeled off these little masking areas. You can reuse these post-it papers several times, basically until they don't stick anymore. So I have used these on several projects already. Now for the water, I'm going to take another piece of this post-it square, cut it in half so I don't waste anything, and just kind of block off the sky so that I have a nice crisp line for the water. I wanted to use a darker shade of blue, so I'm going in with Salty Ocean Distress Oxide ink, and I'm kind of moving my brush in a wave-like motion. This way you have some darker areas that kind of resemble waves already, and you don't have to worry about going all the way down because we're going to be covering it up with some of our cutout images. Lastly, I'm using a darker shade of Distress Oxide ink in Blueprint Sketch, and I'm using one of the included little wave stamps, and I'm just randomly stamping some wave details. This stamp is perfect because it's really small, and you can kind of place those waves everywhere. Once I was done with my background, I set it aside to kind of dry, and then I'm going to stamp my images. I'm using black hybrid ink so I could do Copic coloring, and I'm just using my stamping blocks to stamp these images. They stamp great. You only need to stamp them once, and they're nice and dark with that black hybrid ink. And here's just a little bit of a close-up. And then I'll use the coordinating dies to cut them out before coloring. I did want to stamp these large palm trees as well, but for this I'm using my Misty stamping tool. I knew I would be having to stamp this at least twice, and I did have to stamp it 2 times. It's a larger image, and it's best to use a stamping tool just to make sure you have even pressure. But 2 times and it stamped perfectly. Here's my flamingo and palm trees all colored up, and now it's time to add color to that sandy hill. I'm using 2 shades of Distress Oxide ink to kind of give a sandy color. I'm using the lightest antique linen all over that cutout sandy hill border, and then I'm just adding some darker brown along the edges. This gives a lot of detail just with the 2 colors, and if you lightly blend where the center is lighter, it also adds a really nice shading detail. Once I was done with my ink blending, I'm going back to my Misty tool, and I'm going to stamp one of the sentiments. I'm stamping Summer Vibes, and I'm using a light tan ink. And this tan ink is great because it's darker than the sand color, but it still has like a tan or brown shade, so it goes with the background. After I was done, it was time to start assembling my card. These scenes are so quick to make with these stamp sets and coordinating dies. You can make a bunch of these cards at one time. So I'm just going to layer this printed kind of like a beachy themed pattern paper onto some orange textured cardstock. And then I'm going to use the same orange cardstock behind the scene we just created. This orange and blue color combination looks great. Blue and orange always looks good together. And I love having all of these extra layers. So I'm just going to try to place that in the center as best as I can and just kind of wiggle it around. And then I'm going to start building that little scene. I'm going to start with the bottom with that little sandy hill we created and the sentiment. And then I'm going to use foam tape to attach the palm trees. You could also use liquid adhesive and just glue it directly onto your card, or you could stamp it directly onto your card and just have everything be a single layer. Either way, these make really cute scenes. You could also add more palm trees to your little scene or have them kind of scattered around to have a whole different look. I'm just going to put this one right kind of on top of that hill. You see how large it is? They're really cool looking. I'm also going to use some foam on top of the little flamingo. The flamingo also has a little stamp that you can stamp a wing or draw one in. It's up to you. And then I'm just going to add a little bit of glue to the feet so that it sticks to that little sandy bottom that we created. So I'm just going to pull off that foam tape and place it right here by the tree in that little open area. Do you see how easy that was to create this card? It's simple, but there's so much detail. These stamps and coordinating dies makes it really easy to make these scenes quickly. Here's another one I created. Same stamps, but just a different way of using them. And then here's another one where I added a different wave stamp to create a different look with the water. And I attached a little sun. So I hope you enjoyed today's project and a peek at the new Paper Sweeties August release. All the details in the description box below, along with the coordinating blog post. I hope you're having a great day, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.